And I've got friends who I've heard and who have said that, and it's like, no, that's bullshit. I'm sorry.
We're leaving that in there,
No,
yeah.
Like honestly, you get to do this once.
Welcome everybody. This is another episode of Driven Superstars, and I am here with my good friend Cherie. Cherie is one of our members here at the gym, and her energy is just amazing. So I really wanted to bring you here and have you share some of that fire with us. So thank you so much for being here, Cherie. Why don't you start telling us a little bit about, your age, kids, husband life, all that.
Oh, okay. So I'm 48 years old, and I'm married, and I have two bonus kids, two bio kids. I've got a 30-year-old, 24-year-old. They're my bonus kids, and but we raised them as soon as we got married. And then I've got a almost 15 and 12-year-old, all girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
All girls.
All girls.
Holy
yeah,
smokes.
and two dogs.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
What kind of dogs are they?
I got a little Shih Tzu and a Heinz 57. Yeah. So.
Cool. How long have you been married?
We've been married. It'll be 16 years this year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So with you, I had my very first experience to what it was like to be introduced to the Newfie rituals.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? What was it like growing up in Newfoundland?
Newfoundland was awesome. Like the weather sucks. I think they got snow back there this week, but a lot like here in Nanaimo. Like I lived in Alberta for almost 20. Well, it was 20 years, and I really, really miss the water. And Nanaimo, I find it's like we fit in here like gloves. I feel it's. Newfoundlanders make fun of themselves and are okay with they like having a laugh and work hard, play hard, and it's just it's the same mentality here. I feel like, and my whole family feels like right at home here. It's been
really?
amazing. Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about what was it like for you growing up? Do you have siblings, brothers, sisters?
Oh yeah. So I'm the oldest. I've got two sisters and a brother. My parents are still there. I've got one sister that lives in Edmonton, and the rest of the family live in Newfoundland. And I'm going back there in 2 weeks. I'll be back there for a month this summer.
Oh, nice.
Lots of family. Yeah. Family's a big thing. That's what I like about being here in Nanaimo too. Like so many people I know, they've got like extended family. Like the parents are here, grandparents. So there's that kind of nuclear kind of. It's just a solid place, right? And in Alberta, we just didn't have that. For a while we had family around us when we lived in northern Alberta in Fort McMurray, but not now. And it's in the last 3 months, most of my husband's family have actually moved to Nanaimo.
Wow.
Yeah. One's moving today. Yeah. So it's just been amazing. It's been such a good move for us.
Yeah. I would love to have my family come here and live here too. It's just such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Right balance of there's enough stuff to do.
We got a Costco, and you're on the water, and it's like there's everything to do. Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, so looking at you today, is very obvious that you enjoy exercise.
Oh my God, yeah.
But bring me back to like your very introduction to any type of exercise. Like, because for example, for me, I grew up. And I was little, and my mom would take me with her and make me sit down while she did like aerobics or whatever, right? Like she was 19 when I was born. So I grew up seeing her exercise and love it. For you, what was it like? What was your introduction to?
So you know what's weird about me? Like, and you know a little bit about because I did do a lot of sports back in the day. I grew up in a school because it was like small, and I guess some parts of British Columbia are like that. Like not all parts of Newfoundland were rich and affluent by any stretch, and I didn't have a gym until I went to high school. So I didn't do any sports, nothing, until I got out of high school.
Really?
Yep, and I was introduced. The first time I went to a gym was, I started rowing. That's the first thing I did. So I joined a rowing team because it was right next to my work, and loved it, still do. And then I started training with weights, and that's my thing.
Yeah.
I was, because I was always tall and strong. Like I'm just naturally strong, right? But as soon as I hit a weight, it was like, that's my thing. Yeah. So.
And how old were you the first time that you?
18. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And then I started buying like a muscle and fitness magazines and stuff. And I always had like I love that look of being strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was 16 the first time that I walked into a gym, and I had tried a little bit here and there. Like I tried track and field, and I like basketball, and I try a little bit here and there. But I honestly was not good at anything. And I think that one of the things that I enjoyed about weights was that it was all on me, and it was me versus me.
Totally.
You know?
Every single time you go, it's like you can if you start thinking about what other people are doing, you're going to screw yourself, right?
Yeah.
But I love pushing myself, but I get pushed by, that's why I love this place. I get pushed by someone else, seeing them do their, like trying to do their best. Like there's been so many times, and I won't call out anyone, but there's been so many times when I'll look across or next to me and I see someone who's like, you can see they're trying to get their head around doing that. Like last week there was this girl she was trying to, I'm gonna say it's Stephanie, I think her name is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Stephanie was there, and she was there, and she tried like 3 times to go on the step up, on the third high step up. And then I was like, come on, you're strong, you can do it. And she did it. I was like,
oh, it just fires
right?
you up.
It like totally fires me up.
Yeah.
So I always did team sports. So for me, it's like, so it was rowing, and like that's the epitome of going in one direction, everyone doing the kind of same thing, working hard, and it's just got this kind of visceral thing for me, right?
Yeah.
And I really love being on a team, and I get that here.
Yeah.
I get that, like even though like we're not technically, but I still feel like we're pushing each other, we're working hard with each other, and I get that here. And like it's been a long time since I've been able to have that kind of feeling, so it's been pretty cool.
Yeah. So tell me about how do you go from an 18-year-old girl that just started her journey into fitness, and how do you end up in the Olympic bobsled team?
So I need to put a caveat here.
Yeah.
Miguel, I was on the Olympic team. I didn't go to the Olympics.
No, I know. But
so I got cut just before.
How did that start?
Well, I moved to Alberta for my career, and when I got there, I had just come off a hard summer of rowing, and like I always trained. I always did, and I just happened to see this thing on the news saying they were looking for bobsledders. And it was just the year after the Olympics, and Canada had just won, like Pierre and Dave McEachran had just won a gold medal. So it was like lots of hype for Canada. Yep. And they said they were like looking for women, and they were trying to grow the women's sport.
Yeah.
So I went out, and literally 3 weeks later, I was in Germany pushing a sled for Canada. Yeah.
What?
I know, it was just like that.
Wow.
So that kind of speaks to the depth and the breadth of the program. And I'm on the Alberta board still, and we're always looking for athletes, right? Like I've seen a couple of girls here that I'm like, oh, you should really try, right? But it was like that quick. But and so in the beginning, because I had a rowing background, most of the athletes that came out for bobsleigh were track background, right? And I had always done weights, but I'd never done powerlifting, so it was just weights. So I always had this kind of misgiving that I really didn't belong there, right? That I was like, even though it's like I was probably the strongest, and I didn't like, when I pushed, I was like, it was good, and always, like really good results, but because I didn't have the athletic background from my my younger life, and like I didn't do track and hurdle. Oh my God, you should have seen me trying to do a hurdle.
Oh yeah?
Oh my God, it was awful. I was like, there was always this doubt, right?
Yeah.
And looking back now, it's like I wish I could bitch slap that 20-year-old. Like I was in my late 20s at the time, is like because I had all these natural talents.
Yeah.
I was just strong, and I really worked hard, but it was like you can't let doubt creep in.
Yeah.
And it does it and I still see it in so many different parts of my life, right? It's like you get to a certain point, and it's like then you start having doubt about stuff, and it's like you gotta know. It's like I deserve this.
Yeah, and it's a good sign, when if you never felt that bit of doubt, that bit of fear, you're not experiencing that because you're not pushing the boundaries of what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
So that's a clear sign right there that you're pushing yourself a little bit more, right, than you're comfortable with.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then what happened? So you're already representing Canada, and tell me about your coaches. You shared with me that you had a coach, and it was great, and it pushed you. And
oh, I had some
that.
good. I had a strength coach. Andre Benoit was his name, and he does a bunch of stuff in Calgary still, and he was amazing. He used to call me Magnus for Magnuson. It's like for the strongman competitions.
Yeah.
He was like just brute strength because I had absolutely no technique. But like
you were just strong.
I was stupid strong, and but he was so good for motivating me, and he just knew what to say, and he could see what not my boundaries are, or he could see what my capabilities were more than I could.
Right.
So he was always pushing me to tell me you can do more, like you guys do here, right? And it was so good to have that kind of support. And then I had this crazy Polish coach for our speed and conditioning for the last 2 years, and that was crazy. I can't believe, like it's amazing how much faster, stronger, everything you can get when like you've got the right support networks and you got the right mindset.
Yeah.
And
And you just put in the work, right?
Yeah. And the thing, so like everything that happened, it's like there was choices that I made and there were reasons that I didn't get to go, right? And looking back now, it's like you can't blame you gotta own, and I say all the time, you gotta own your shit, right? There's things that I could have done and there might have been different outcomes, and I have to own that, right?
Yeah.
And same thing with right now, it's like, so I'm still struggling. Like I know I've made leaps and bounds this year with my fitness. I feel so strong and thankful, but like I still want to cut a bunch of weight, right? But at the end of the day, that was me. I had Cheetos last night.
Right.
So I gotta own that. Right?
Yeah, of course. Taking responsibility for your actions is extremely important. But so, how did you end up being cut from the team?
It was about a month and a half before, and
A month and a half before
the Olympics.
The Olympics.
Yeah. So it was heartbreaking. Yeah, it was bad, and so. And I was like it was just what it was. So Canada, there's a lot of politics involved in a lot of those sports for sure. And we had qualified for two teams. I had qualified the year before to go, and the Canadian Federation for sliding, they decided they were only going to send one team. So instead of having two teams, there was one, and I didn't make the cut. So it was devastating, but I had the year before met my husband, and so wedding plans were like, so I had something else that I could kind of divert to, but really I ran away from it. So I lived in Calgary, and as soon as that happened, within 4 months I moved to Northern Alberta in Fort McMurray, and I was pregnant like within a year, got married and did all this stuff, and it's been great. Like my husband is phenomenal. And I've got such a great. I wouldn't change anything.
Right.
But I gave up that. I gave up this part of my life.
Yeah. Well, and you can understand how when you work hard at something and you love it and it fulfills, it fills that cup that you've got of working in a team and pushing each other, and it fills all those cups, and then all of a sudden it's taken away. Like that can definitely affect you, not just physically, but mentally.
Everything. Yeah, everything. And it's like, and the thing is, like, so my whole life changed. Like, I went from being on the national team, going to the Olympics and single, and like having like no responsibility other than myself. And literally within a year, I was living in Northern Alberta. My husband's working shift work. I've got two teenagers, and I'm pregnant,
right.
And I'm pretty intense, so pregnancy hormones were pretty intense. It was hard, and
How long? Like, would you say that there were physical consequences of that mental change, of that switch in lifestyle? Besides the fact that you were pregnant, but Did you drop everything related to?
No, it was a slow decline. So because my kids are 2.5 years apart, and between them, I actually rode one more time, and I got in decent shape between the two of them. And then after my youngest is born now, I just didn't put myself as a priority, right? That's it. And so I can go back and say, it's hard having kids, it's doing this, because it is. But I didn't put myself as a priority. And there was lots of choices. Like right now, I used to say I wanted a couple of hours to myself every day. So I took those at the end of the day, watching Netflix in front of the TV or watching TV or whatever. Yeah. But now my choice is I take those hours for myself at the beginning of the day, and I go to bed a little bit earlier. Yeah. So it's still that choice.
Is that the time when you exercise?
In the mornings, yeah.
So you decided that your time for you would be not sitting watching Netflix all the time, but working on something that is also good for you.
Yeah, and it was hard to start getting up that early. I used to row early in the mornings with my rowing team too, and I think what makes it easy for me here with the 5 a.m., because we say our 5 a.m.ers, right? Because there's
the crew.
Oh my God, right? It's awesome. But it is I feel like I'm letting them down if I don't show up. Yeah. I would never, ever not show up for a 5 a.m. rowing crew. If my team was there, you just don't do that. Yeah. And the only time that I miss the classes now that I'm supposed to is if I have work obligations and I just can't get out of it. Yeah. Right? Thursday, I did my 5 a.m. and I was on my flight for 7:45. Wow. Right? So if you plan around it, you can do it.
Yeah. So what got you to that point where, so after that bit of a break that you took, what made you, how did you end up here in Nanaimo? How did you end up on the island?
My husband and I the family came over. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law have a boat, and we came over for a vacation with them one time, and she was looking at houses, and we were like, oh my God.
This would be amazing.
Yeah, and Calgary was not good for me with our family. It just wasn't. We were landlocked. And my husband's from Newfoundland too, so we just love the water, just love it. And we were here and was like, hey, this is Canada. We could live here too. Yeah. And things just fell into place. I got a great job. I've got a job that I think is a look at, I got a really varied and different work background. And it's all of that came together to be able to make me do this job well. Yeah. And to enjoy it. Yeah. It's amazing. And my husband, he gets to golf lots. He loves golf. Nice. And the kids are doing amazing here in the schools, and we don't have to shovel snow.
It was, that's another plus. So it literally just the pieces fell into place.
It was bang, bang. So I'll make this, I will say this. So I am a firm believer in setting goals and saying that and every time I do it, it works. Every single time. My husband says I'm a witch sometimes.
I say that to Katie too sometimes.
So I literally, in our bathroom, when we were living in Calgary, we loved it. And I did up a vision board. Yeah. And at the top of it, it was said, Nanaimo, here we come. And there was a picture of a boat, and there was a picture of the mountains and water. And then I had a picture of a house with our car. We got a fun little car that was in the basement of the house. And the house is almost exactly like the one we have. And the boat and the view is what we have.
Yeah, so the power of visualizing and...
So I was just thinking this morning, because it's I've been at a bit of a plateau in terms of scale for a while. I got to stick my head on somebody that I want. Yeah. But to look at it and make sure, because not losing sight of this is what I want. Yeah. And every day, every day I saw that, and every day, and that's what happened. Right. It's crazy.
So you end up here in Nanaimo, and at which point do you go, all right, I need to start doing something that is consistent all the time? The first thing that you did when you moved here, was it rowing?
Nothing.
For how long?
Well, the first year I moved here, we went back to Newfoundland this summer, and I hooked up with my old rowing team. And one of the girls is she lives in Tennessee, and she talked us all into going back, and we rode in this race called Chattanooga on the Hooch or whatever. And so when we were down there, it was amazing just to be back with those girls and doing this again. And there was talks like this summer it's the 200th anniversary for this regatta that I'm going to go rowing, and they were talking about it, and I was so out of shape. Hey, oh my God, It was embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And
like how much compared to now would you say?
50 pounds.
50 pounds.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I know.
How long ago was this?
That was a year and a half ago. Yeah. But I've put on a lot of muscle too, hey?
Yeah.
So it's it's been a big change, but just about 50 pounds.
Wow.
To when that, not when I started here.
Right.
Yeah, not when I started here, because that kind of started me. But they were talking about rowing, and I knew, because there's only so many people that can row in that boat, and I knew that I knew that they wanted me there, but they couldn't have me if they wanted to be competitive.
Right. Oh, that's a tough realization.
Yep. And so I remember I was trying to do it on my own, and I'd done some boot camp classes and style stuff in Calgary when I was there, and I really enjoyed them. And what I enjoyed was that I was doing it with some workmates, and we were going and keeping each other accountable.
Yeah.
So I started Googling boot camps, and you guys came up.
Yeah.
And I remember my intake with Heather, and I told her my goal was, so this was in April. I said I'm going to go back to Newfoundland in August, and I want to look good enough that the girls are going to say Cherie can be in the boat for next year.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening in a few months.
Yes.
Wow.
And
which
this is awesome. So we went home last summer, and we got our team, and we started talking, and like everyone's training, and we're keeping each other accountable. We got a Facebook page going with that, and like there's some girls that are pretty intense.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the intense one.
Oh really?
Oh no.
Oh my goodness. I want to be part of that group.
I'm like a wallflower.
It's my pre-workout.
Holy
crap.
They're so awesome.
Yeah.
So
and the trick with rowing is that, I mean, you got to be strong, but you can't be too heavy, because if you're too heavy, it's going to put that strain in the whole team. The
whole team. So every pound I cut now it's a pound that everyone else doesn't have to bring down that pond, right? So I have to be, I do want to cut more weight, and when I get back this summer, like I'm going to be back there almost 2.5 weeks before like my kids and Ellis comes back, and so I'll have some time to really focus on that, and I won't have the distractions that I have like with work and other stuff, right? So
and so you end up here, and it's funny because I mean it became clear very quick that you enjoy strength training, right? Like every time I push you, every time I put more weight on your bar, every time, like you love that, and obviously I do that because I can see the strength in your body. One thing is motivating yourself, but something that I think every one of us appreciates about having you is that you go out of your way to motivate others.
Oh, I love that.
And like literally sometimes I feel like if I wasn't here leading this workout, they'd be fine, because
that's not true, Miguel.
Because you're like, come on guys, let's go. And
I'm not the only one though.
It gets
everyone. Like we just did our kickboxing class, and we're screaming and yelling, and it's like everyone's got that animal in them, right?
Yeah.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
And it's just like letting it out. It's just being okay to let it out, and being in a safe place where you don't feel like you're being judged.
Right.
And like, honest to God, after some of these classes, and you can just see the euphoria on people's faces, right? It's like, you feel like, I know sometimes I feel like I could just fly out of here.
Yeah.
That's how good I feel.
You feel like you could fight a lion.
And like there's a full body 2 weeks ago, and like there's some classes that there's just this amazing energy.
Yeah.
Right? Like I believe like synergy, like and that's what happens. Like we get here and we push each other and trash talk a little each other.
You gotta have fun.
Oh my God, it's so fun.
How do you, with kids and how do you balance family life, career, and Fitness.
There's no such thing as balance, I don't think.
So how do you?
I think you just got to make different things priorities at different times. So, and listen, so I have cut back sometimes on, because I was doing a little bit too much, I think, for probably around a month or two back, and I hit the wall for like around 3 or 4 days, and I was just like tired.
Yeah.
I still did some workouts and stuff, but it's about like everyone's not going to be happy all the time, and for me, like the balance for me with working out is like I work out when my kids are still asleep. There's no impact to them, so I don't have any guilt. Like I'm a Catholic newfie, I have lots of guilt, and this you're born with it almost,
go
right?
around, yeah.
Yeah, and but no, I have no guilt around that, and that's my time. And like for work, it's like when I'm at work, I'm at work. I try to be really disciplined and organized and stuff. And like sometimes I think I can be really disorganized, but I'm super organized most of the time. But it's not my nature to be super organized. I have to really work at it. But it's like, it's just the choices that you make. That's all. It's and everything. And sometimes it's really hard when you're tired to do stuff. Yeah. But I got this thing, I don't know where I saw it. It was on a YouTube thing a while ago or Facebook. It was like, when you got something that you want to do and you start having these like conversations with yourself and trying to talk yourself out of doing it, we all do it, right? Yeah. Just count backwards from 5 and then just do it. So it's like I need to row. It's like, I got to go downstairs. I've already done a workout today. It's like, okay. And then I'll say to myself, I'm doing it by 7 o'clock. And then I count it back from 5 and do it and just do it.
Wow.
Yeah, but that doesn't always work. And sometimes I don't go down and do it.
Right.
And then I got to, readjust.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So I love the videos and some of the stuff that you post because it's like, it's about, you have goals and don't kill yourself if you don't hit it right away.
Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, I had a plan to do this for the day and I don't do it today. You readjust, right? It's about continuous improvement. It's about, it's like something happened, so why didn't I? And checking, right? So like if something didn't happen the way that you wanted to, check and see what was going on, what happened, and what can you change,
Self-awareness to figure out what could have gone better to facilitate a better outcome.
And just try different stuff, right? Yeah. Like there's such a good bunch of people that are here and on the boards that are sharing stuff and always trying because like no one's got to figure it out, right? I know, like I have a wonderful life. I really do. Like it's amazing. I got a wonderful husband, great kids. Like my bonus kids are awesome. Great in-laws, great job. But no one's got to figure it out, right?
Do you think that just happened to you?
No.
Right. Because a lot of people make the mistake of being like, oh, well, it's easy for her to say because she's lucky.
No. Like I've worked I drove across Canada by myself, in a car by myself, a single white female, when I was like 27 years old. Like I took risks at times and I worked hard for what I've done. But no, it was not like, it's not been easy, but it's been fun. Right? Yeah. Like these workouts aren't easy. They're not. But I would say that you can't achieve anything unless, like we talked about this before too. It's like I don't think anything else, unless you push your body and you push yourself, then you really know what you can do. Right? And it's like it's when you do that, like even if it's an extra 2 pounds on a weight, or like that time you put that box and I had to jump on top of that. Yeah. Oh my God, I felt so good after, right? Because it's like just trying to do stuff that you wouldn't normally do.
And every time that there's that doubt and that fear, and you choose to face it, sooner or later you're going to have some wins. And every time that you had the fear and the doubt, and then a win, it makes you question that fear and doubt next time, right? When the doubt seeps in and it's like, oh, I don't know if you can do that. You may not be strong enough. And it applies to everything else out there in life. Oh, work may be too much for you right now, or when it comes to making decisions about food, whatever. As you start accumulating this proof of you actually being able to do more than you thought you could,
It just brings confidence everywhere.
It just brings confidence.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. I know that you also work hard at educating yourself and self, like personal development and reading and all this. And do you see a relation between personal development in here and your own fitness, like your own strength, your external?
Oh my God, it's all intertwined. It's like you can't have one without the other. Like you look at, like we've talked, some of the stuff that you talk about, big hairy dashes goals, it's like that's in business, right? So it's like setting goals and then checking against them, seeing how you're doing, like readjusting, collaborative working relationships, synergy. Like I love the 7 habits, and one of the things is like synergy. It's like when, having good working relationships and, one and one make 2, one and one make 3. Yeah. And that's what it's like here. Yeah. It's honestly, that's what happens when you have people that are working hard next to each other, whether it's at work or in the gym or at home, right? Yeah. It's just, things are so much better. And you know what becomes super important? I was chatting with a friend about this yesterday, and I'm like, we literally need to become almost curators of our environment. And doing good things is very important, but getting the bad energies out of our circle, if there's people around you that are just sucking your energy. Black holes. What's that? Black holes. Yeah. Black holes that are just sucking your energy, and all they want is to complain about life. That's going to bring your energy level down. And it's all right. Obviously, family's family, and sometimes you just want to be there for them. But you got to be very careful to protect your own. That's a tough one, right? Because sometimes it might be people, like in the past for me, it was like people that I've worked with, right? And it's like, and just being around an Eeyore, and it's everyone can be an Eeyore, right? But everyone can have jazz hands too. That's my thing, jazz hands. Yeah. And it's surrounding, trying to be around people that are, positive. Yeah, that want to be at that level. What goals do you have going forward? It is becoming a reality that you're going to go and row. Yes. Tell us about that race. So that race is about 1,250 meters. It's a 6-seat fixed seat row, and they're heavy boats. It's not like the traditional rowing that you'll see here. It's still like a sweep. It's very similar, but it's really hard race. Yeah. And it's going to take us just over 5 minutes. It won't take, we're working really hard to make it as short as possible. Yeah. But yeah, it's a quick, so it's like not quite you can't settle in because it's so short. Right. And it's really intense. It's like doing deadlifts for 5 minutes. That's what it's like. Crap. Yeah, hard deadlifts. Honestly, that's what it's like. And my hands are going to be torn up. My ass is going to be torn up. It's going to be awesome. You love that, eh? Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, and like honestly, that group of girls that I'm going to be going back to row with, the best. Yeah. Yeah, like it's such a privilege. I've gotten to be on some pretty good teams in my life, like through work and sports. But that one, I work hard. I work my ass off, and I know I'm not the hardest worker in that boat. Whoa! I know every single girl in that boat is working as hard or harder. And when you working with a group like that, oh man, it just. There's no better. You have no choice. There's no better. You gotta keep it up. We can't. So I told you, it's like we were having so much fun. It's like showing our erg scores, and like everyone is doing so well with this, right? Yeah. And one girl posted, and then everyone was posting, and it was like, oh my God, like we're all old. Yeah. We're doing so good. Yeah. That's something that that I am appreciating more. My body's ability to function and my body's ability to allow me to come in here and lift some weights and feel good and those endorphins, like I'm getting more and more aware and more thankful, because
I'm not 20 anymore.
No.
And, and so, man, it's even more of an accomplishment.
Like I remember what I used to lift. Like when I was sliding, we were doing it was heavy weight. So it was like Olympic lifting, cleans and squats and like a lot of heavy weight. And when we were doing the strength training last summer, so it'd be interesting to see if I tried that again now.
Yeah.
But when we were just concentrating on the strength, my weights were pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I know, if that was my focus now, I'd be as strong as I was.
Yeah.
I know I could.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm almost 50 years old.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible what that maturity and those lessons that we learn can do, right?
Oh my God, if I had this mindset in my 20s, right? I know no regrets, right? Because it's I'm pretty happy. I am very, very happy right now. And it's I'm really looking forward to the next whatever.
Yeah.
And, but my God, how much doubt you have in your 20s and being a young mom and stuff and just feeling oh, well, I got to do this and whatever. So I see there's so many moms that come in here and they are taking this time for themselves. It's God love them because it's going to be so much better for their kids, right? And I know when I see some posts and it's there's guilt and stuff around, it's no, your kids are going to be so much happier because you're taking care of yourself. Yeah. I wish that I'd done that for mine, right. But we're here now.
Yes.
Right? And it's really good now.
Yeah.
So it's there's no 2020 is good only if you learn from it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the one question that I ask everybody in this to close is, to you, what does it mean to be driven? To be a driven person, what do you think that entails?
Just never being satisfied. Always feeling I can do better. And that sounds, oh my God, my husband, if he sees this, he's going to die. It's not that I'm not satisfied. I'm very thankful for everything that I have. But there's always the knowledge that it's I can up it a bit.
Yeah.
Right? There's something else I can do.
Yeah.
It's just feeling you can always do more.
You can always give a little bit more.
Yeah. So it's and I don't hold back. Yeah. There's work, we had our full body one this week. I literally almost puked. Yeah. I couldn't believe how hard it was. But it's just, and then after that, it's
maybe I could have.
I'm going to try a little bit harder. Knowing you know what? Yeah, I did work that hard. So maybe I can work a little bit harder next time.
You know what's crazy? A lot of people, as soon as they hear something never be satisfied, always push yourself a tiny bit more, they automatically go into well, there's nothing wrong with being content, and there isn't. But I feel, at least in my experience, because I also feel about my life the way that you feel about your life.
I don't want contentment. I want euphoria, right? Oh my God, it's okay to be content. That's settling. That's how I feel. And I've got friends who I've heard and who have said that, and it's no, that's bullshit. I'm sorry.
We're leaving that in there, yeah.
Honestly, you get to do this once. And if you can feel good and you can try to get someone else feeling good next to you, that's be content. Yeah. No, for me it's that's not me. Yeah. And I don't want that to be my family. I want my kids to feel they can do anything they want. Right? I really feel I really truly believe anything that I want to do, I can do. Now you really got to believe you can do it, right? Yeah. You really have to believe. But if there's something that I set my mind to and I think it's an attainable goal, I can do it. Anything I want to do. And I really believe every person has that in them. I really do.
That's exactly what being driven is, my friends.